Welcome to Buyer's Remorse. I'm Darren.
I'm Justin.
And today, Justin had to play an awesome game called...
The Pasture. Now, before we even begin, there's a whole story that the listeners need to understand.
Yep.
A little backstory about this. As we've mentioned before, the whole purpose of the show is the fact that Darren and I are a bit bad about being bargain hunters, buying more games than we could ever get to, and this whole show is designed to make us play a game that we've bought and haven't given a try. So, welcome to The Pasture. Darren was convinced that I owned this game.
I have a reason why.
I'm sure you do. There are many bundles that I haven't totally put onto Steam. Even recently I tried to do it and I sent you a message about this. There were like 5 bundles that I got because as the time of recording this, there was a huge just bundle-rama where there are a ton of bundles on the cheap. So I got some and I started putting a bunch up. And after about 30 or so, Steam said, no, you've put too many keys on here. You need to wait.
Settle down.
So I'm in no rush to go through and put everything and then have to wait and do a cooldown period. But there are some bundles that I just haven't put up. I put up the game I bought it for, and the others are sitting there. Darren has a list of all the bundles that he has and all the games that he has ready to go, partly because of giveaways and partly to make sure he doesn't buy the same game twice, I assume.
Yeah, pretty much. Just to keep on top of the mess that's happening.
And so what Darren said was he didn't just want what was in my library. He wanted to know what bundles I'd been hiding from him. So I had to send him a list. So I sent him a list and he said, I want you to play these 3 games. Basically, we're preparing ahead of time. So 3 games. And one of those was The Pasture. And I said, I don't think I have that one, but let me check. In Fanatical, there's a search browser kind of function within your keys to look for a specific game, which is fantastic. I used it to look up the other 2 games, and one of them I didn't have, but I had an older version of, which we said that's fine. So that'll be a future episode. But this Pasture, I couldn't find. Where's The Pasture? So I kept back and forth. For like 2 days, we were back and forth. I don't think I have it. You said,
no, you have it.
I don't think that search thing works. And I said, I'm pretty sure it does because I used it for the other thing, but fine. Twice I went through bundle by bundle, looking through all of the games, wasn't there. I said, look, I really don't think I have this game. And you're like, why would it not show up in the search? I'm like, maybe because I don't have it. So on the 3rd day, I wake up, I turn on my computer, and what is waiting for me but a gift? The Pasture. You're right, you didn't have it. This is my friend's way of apologizing, is giving me this game that he wants me to play for this episode.
It's such a good game.
He's played this before. You have played this before. Yeah. So he knows full well what I'm in for. This is the kind of friendship that we have.
But I'm happy that I didn't even know that Fanatical had a search function. So thanks for telling me about that. What it was you gave me the list of the bundles, and when you buy, let's say, 3 bundles at a time, they're all stacked in that list. So I went to that bundle and I scrolled through and I scrolled into the next bundle that I bought, thinking that was in the first bundle. And that's why I said that you've got The Pasture, because I'm an idiot and I need glasses.
Or maybe a better way of organizing out your information. I thought you were just under the impression, because a lot of the bundles have numbers to them.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I thought maybe you had just confused, because a lot of times they're Roman numerals, so you confused a 6 with a 4 or something like that.
Right. No, I'd skipped over it, because you had down like the Nemesis whatever bundle, and I thought The Pasture was in that, but it wasn't. It was in the dollar bullshit bundle. Like, that was just directly.
I would love it if that was the name of the actual bundle. Okay, so let's talk about The Pasture itself. It is a game that is only $1 base price, so yeah, it couldn't be in an expensive bundle, I don't think. It is 2 years old at this point, is from January of 2017. Surprisingly has mixed reviews. but only 46 people have bothered to review it. I don't know. This is another one where the developer is just a single name. It's Mikhail Maximov, and is published by Sometimes You, which I didn't bother to look up to see how many other games they have going. But in their description, it says the Pasture gives you a truly innovative gameplay and experimental possibilities that allow you to experience yourself as a different character, a member of a mysterious art elite.
I had never read that blurb before, but that makes absolutely even less sense, and I know what this game is about.
So let's talk real quick, because we'll get to this later, but their sample pictures honestly give you a very realistic view of what you're going to see in the game. It has basically shotgun or rifle, but there are like 3 arms. So it looks like an FPS where you have 3 arms, basically. There's something where it looks like you're holding hot dogs, but you're not. We'll get to that. One where you're taking pictures with your cell phone, and one with boobs on the wall.
Yeah.
You will see all of those things. I will say this about them. The description is garbage. That's very, very little of what the game is really like. But those pictures are exactly what you're going to see. Let's talk about playing this game. Welcome to the Pasture, an art gallery simulation that is not realistic in any way, shape, or form. The menu screen has a video of people watching something. So it's one of those where it's like the old candid camera, essentially. Think of it like a practical joke where they have something set up at an ATM. So you're looking at it from underneath where, I don't know, maybe one of the ATM cameras might be. I don't know what they're looking at. But this video footage must be important because it's played on bits and pieces throughout the entire game. I don't know if they're meant to be looking at this game or what it is. Do you have any idea what that was?
I don't recall that at all. I think that might have been patched in later, because I played this quite a long time ago. I don't remember that part at all.
On the menu screen, there is a button that says Awards, which I was very curious about because from all I had seen so far, this game wouldn't win a whole lot of awards. So I clicked on it, and it's not awards for the game. What I think it is are Steam achievements. When I started the game, you see a glowing part on the floor that says meeting point. Behind it, and I'm not exactly sure what was going on here, but the first time I played it, there was this statue in the background that looked almost like it was a bunch of TV screens stacked on top of each other and melting. I don't think that actually has anything to do with the game. I think that was a glitch. Because typically you're looking at an artwork of some kind, and that was not one of them. So I think that was somehow a mistake that the game made. But the first 15 minutes of the game were a real disaster for me. Because here's what you get. When you get into it at first, the camera is flipping between 2 screens at about 3 seconds a pop. There's a woman in kind of a leather suit that is smoking a lot. And then there is the guy. This guy has a weird hat on that looks like the sky from a Super Mario Brothers. He has on track pants with words down the side of it. He's holding a giant eggplant, and he has giant bat wings.
Yep.
You also have a health bar, sort of. It says time until you die, which I thought meant it was a timed game, but it's not. There's also a large indicator at the bottom left that says how far away you are from the meeting point. So it's very obvious the meeting point after being shown it to you, and you have this indicator. Obviously, this is very, very important. Yeah. But for the first 15 minutes, I couldn't make the game work.
Oh, really?
Keep in mind, I'm using a controller. Now, the controller does work, but the game doesn't work with the controller.
Okay, I'm confused.
As you should be. I was too. Here's the thing. When you actually play the game, you are not in control of the man or the woman. But with the controller, I was. I was taking the woman, and I was trying to move her forward. There's this door in the way, but you only get 3 seconds. And so I could never get quite out the door. and then I'd move the man, and obviously it's the same door, but you're on the other side, and I would try to get him to walk into the door. I thought the goal was to get these two characters together. I thought that perhaps every 3 seconds you have to move them slightly until they can both get to the meeting point. It's not the case.
No.
And I was getting very frustrated because it seemed like every time it flipped back to the other character, I was back in the same starting point. So I could never get further than what I was, and I couldn't understand that. I did finally get to a point where I could get the woman to walk backwards and fall into a giant hole in the floor.
Yeah.
But she would never hit the bottom before I'd flip back to the guy. And then when it would flip back to her, I'm back up at the top level again, starting over. So I didn't get it, and I thought the whole game is just broken. I took a few minutes just to see what was going on. I checked out the reviews. A lot of people were complaining about having to walk backwards. I was not walking backwards. I couldn't make them walk backwards, so I didn't know what was going on there.
What are these weirdos talking about?
And basically, I ended up having to do a quick Google search, and I don't know, it didn't exactly answer my question, but what somebody suggested was taking out peripherals, that perhaps your peripherals, like your hardware stuff, might be getting in the way. Well, I didn't really want to do that, but it did make me think perhaps the controller is not working properly. And that's exactly what it was. So it's not that there's anything wrong with my controller, but this game does not work with a controller. So the controller works on the game, but the game doesn't work with a controller because it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing.
It's just weird.
I don't understand why it worked that way.
So how long did you play?
That was about 15 minutes that I sat through trying and couldn't get it.
Wow.
Thus, I had to put the controller aside and revert to keyboard and mouse, I guess. Mouse is mostly just for looking around. Keyboard is not even really keyboard. It's not WASD, right? So you have to use the arrow keys, which feels really awkward.
Oh, really? Is there no... I don't
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Because this is also why I thought the game was broken, because the WASD keys weren't working.
So you'll all be just over on this side of the computer?
Pretty much, yeah. So here's the thing. When you do play it properly with keyboard and mouse, you do still flip back and forth between the man and the woman. You're basically choosing who do you want to follow you. Because yes, this entire game is you walking backwards. So the first time, I didn't know what I was doing, but as soon as I hit an arrow key, it was the woman who was following me. So I'm getting her to follow me. At this point, I'm having what in the picture, the sample picture, I thought was a cup of hot dogs, but it's not. It's a cup of giant wriggling worms, which I don't understand. Pretty much this entire game, I don't understand. But there she is. I'm moving backwards. I'm apparently doing what the game wants me to do. I walk backwards into the hole, and we fall 5 stories to the lowest level. As I'm walking backwards, she continues to smoke. She has a whole cloud of smoke around her, and I see these purple spinning icons. So I get to one. It says hold up, so I hold the up key. After I do, I get information about a piece of art. Then I go back into the game. I think you have to hit space or something to go back into the game. I go back into the game, and as I start walking backwards again to find the next one of these spinning icons, the actual artwork that I just learned about now falls from the sky and nearly lands on the woman who's following me. Keep in mind, this woman is smoking the whole time, but she's also muttering stuff the whole time. And in the background, as though over the PA system, there's also some sort of Russian voice just nattering away about I have no idea what. And then later, there's another voice, which is a different voice, but he's coughing all the time. Again, no idea. I have no idea what's going on. But clearly now, I know the objective of this amazing game, and that is to walk backwards, turning around constantly to figure out where I am, and find all of these 20 art pieces.
Yep. I mean, maybe that's what in their description, their innovative gameplay is like, no one's ever thought of having to make them walk backwards in a game before.
That is innovative. It's not pleasurable, though.
No.
Because all I have to do is I have to keep turning around all the time to see where I'm going.
Yeah, it's completely stupid.
Especially in this game where there are so many times there was a doorway that I couldn't actually enter. There were times, especially on the stairs, where I would clip through the stairs, or I would be stuck on something that wasn't actually there. Going through doorways where I would be backing up against a wall and it would stop me, and then suddenly I'd be in the room. It's awful. Like, this game, as far as the mechanics and the bugs, it's a nightmare. In a game where they've made you also walk backwards and holding ridiculous stuff. But at some point in the game, I did end up holding all of the things that were in the sample pictures. The guns, the cup of worms, the cell phones, all of that. Like, everything in those sample pictures was true.
Yeah.
So as I'm walking backwards, I'm finding some stuff. It's really awkward to get around to find anything. And to make it worse, this time until you die is not a timed game mechanic. It's to stop you from walking too quickly.
Yeah.
So about every 4 seconds, you have to stop, wait. And it does reset very quickly, but it's still very irritating to have to stop every 4 steps to wait for it to reset and then go back again. So at this point, of course, I wanted to see what happens when you die. I moved back quickly, and I died. And it's nothing special. So now I decided to go ahead and let the guy follow me. Now the one plus side here, the one plus I'll give it here, is that I did start with the same number of art pieces. So I had already found 12, I think. So I started with 12. I get him to follow me. This guy mutters a lot more than the woman.
Yeah.
And he's going to hit you with the eggplant and doesn't. It's very weird.
Yeah, he's just taunting you with it.
And then the face changes. In fact, his whole body sometimes transforms for no reason into a sort of insect bat-like creature and then back again. But again, for no apparent reason.
It's art.
Yeah, apparently. I guess that's what they're going for. You would almost have to say art because this is not really a game. As I'm backing up, trying to find more artwork, there was also a point with this guy where he just attacked me for no reason. And once he attacks, there's nothing you can do. You're just dead. So no surprise, next time I chose the woman again.
Right.
There's a real problem with going upstairs, where, like I said before, you might get stuck on something and not realize it. And then all of a sudden, she's basically in your face. And then you have to back up. It's like over and over again of like her being in my face and then me backing up and then her back in my face again, trying to get up and around these awkward stairs.
The stairs were very hard to navigate around.
I did get to the point where I found the wall that had the boobs on it. There are 3 giant spinning boobs. It's just a waste. There's nothing good about that.
Do they have nipples?
They do.
Yeah, there you go.
I just don't understand modern art. I think a lot of it has to do with that. And maybe if you see this game as modern art, I'm sure that if you want to, and you're the type of person that would do this, if you want to fill in the gaps for meaning and what this game is about, I'm sure it's very easy to do. The more abstract something is, the easier it is to do that. And quite frankly, this is one of the most abstract things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's why, I mean, when I played this, it's a horrible game to play. Like, the walking backwards and having to stop, every 5 steps is ridiculous. But to be honest, I got my money's worth out of it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, keep in mind, the game is only $1.
But I kind of enjoyed it, but it is dumb.
I did make it at one point to the meeting point.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask if you managed to complete it.
Oh, yeah. And so when you get to the meeting point, and in fact, the first time, because I was walking backwards, I didn't even realize what had happened. All of a sudden, and I believe it was the man who was following me at this point, he basically sits in a giant throne that appears to be made out of cigarettes and poop. And they're like 2 dishes of almost emoji poop floating around his head. And you're in the sky, and it's spinning around, and it says, "You win, probably." And that's basically the end of the game. So I did that. I was only 31 minutes in.
Oh, man.
And I apparently won the game.
There you go.
But I had 29 minutes yet to play. I had to keep going. So the plan at this point was try to find all the artwork. Sadly, I didn't. I only found about 19 out of 20. But I spent 29 minutes looking all over this place awkwardly and still couldn't find it. So I'm not sure where that last one is. The game is so buggy and awkward that there's a part of me that wouldn't be surprised if there were only 19. And that's another message that they're trying to send. If it's that kind of, I don't know if pretentious is the right word, but it feels kind of like that. I mean, especially you look at some of the artwork.
Isn't one of them just a brick?
I don't remember a brick, but I do remember there were like 3 that just looked very much like 3 giant coat hangers. And there's one that just looks like a fence that construction people might put up to keep passersby out of the way.
Oh, and these are all real works of art as well, aren't they?
I do believe they are, yeah.
Yeah.
There's one artwork that is 2 crutches, except at the bottom they have axe heads on them. And this is the level of art that we're getting. So, modern art, not necessarily my thing. Most of these things, not really for me. It was somewhat humorous to watch them fall nearly on the guy or nearly on the woman. And also with a giant loud thud. Despite the fact that the giant Starburst package is made out of plastic. I know that. It says that in the information. It would not make that sound. Okay, now I've just found this in my notes. This is the part where the man killed me. Just before he kills you, his wings become rainbow colored. And after he kills you, there is a line of text that comes up on the screen that says, "I don't paint dreams or nightmares. I paint my own reality."
There you go. Deep.
When it comes to the end, I only found 19. I'm not sure that I really want to jump back in. I didn't get any awards or achievements, even though I'm pretty sure there should be 2 that I should have gotten. There's one that has to do with finding 3 art pieces in a certain amount of time, and I know I did that. So that seems to be broken.
It's possible the achievements are broken, yeah.
As far as tags, I don't even know. Walking Simulator would be a good one.
That would be a disgrace to the genre.
Walking Simulator. Perhaps Walking Backwards Simulator would be better, obviously. Surreal, I guess I would give it. And Artsy, I suppose I would give it.
Yeah, that would be... You going to go back and find the 20th object?
I really don't think so. And as far as recommendations, I'm not sure that I can. It's only $1. I would say if it's in a bundle and you're going to be stuck with it anyway, give it a try, because this is a time where it is so bad and it is so surreal that it is an experience and it is kind of worth it for that. But I would say it's worth it for the 31 minutes, not 60.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, it's an interesting little experiment, I guess.
It's definitely something different. I will definitely give it that. It does not feel like a clone of anything else.
Nope. So, Justin, buyer's remorse or confirmation?
Now, that's a tough question because I didn't actually buy the game. And I'm going to lay it down now that I'm making a rule because this is apparently going to be a thing. We're now in what I'll call season 2, like my first episode of year 2. And you're already doing this again where you're cheating and giving me a game. So you can maybe get away with this once a year.
All right.
So now for the rest of this year, I'm safe from you sneaking another one.
I wasted my chance on this one game.
As far as Remorse, I mean, it's hard to say Remorse because it is definitely something interesting. It is something different. I would say as far as experience, no, it's a confirmation. This is something new and I'm always willing to try something new. But as far as a game and the game mechanics and how terrible it is and the game experience, yeah, this would definitely be a Remorse.
Remorse.